The European Union is considering tougher visa rules for the Russian tourists as part of its next sanction package. An EU official tells us the package may also include restrictions on the movement of Russian diplomats within the bloc. Other measures include sanctions on banks, energy companies, crypto, and the shadow fleet of ships of Russian oil, all of which could be presented to member states later this week. The Croatian Prime Minister, Andrej Plenković, is with me. Now, Prime Minister, good to talk to you as always. Thank you for the time on Croatian Business. Before we get into other matters, do you support tightening the visa regime for Russia, bearing in mind that certainly could affect your tourism industry, as your country has one of the highest percentage of Russian tourists coming to visit?
Good evening or good day. Richard, first of all, we have been very supportive about all the sanction packages that the EU has adopted against Russia. Now there is a debate about the 19th package. This is just a circulation of an idea that might affect citizens, i.e. the tourists which would require visa to enter one of the EU member states. Croatia today stands, when it comes to statistics, around 25 to 27,000 Russian tourists. So let's say bearing the overall number of more than 21 million tourists which will visit our country this year, this would not be a significant impact on the tourist sector for Croatia. But as I said, from what we know, this is just an idea floated within the Commission. We'll see the concrete proposal very soon.
Right. And on this idea of President Trump talking about he's prepared to do more for sanctions on Russia, but demanding EU nations stop purchasing as much or any Russian oil and gas. Hungary is the worst offender of that. There are others, Slovakia as well. Do you support what the president is suggesting and saying? Would you like to see your fellow EU counterparts slowing and stopping buying Russian fossil fuels?
Well, I think that President Trump has made a very valid point. Indeed, there were some exceptions a couple of years ago when it comes to the sanctions regime for some of the landlocked countries of the European Union. In the meantime, what we have done as Croatia, who is keen to ensure the energy security and the unhindered energy supply to all of our neighbors, you know that Croatia has so-called Adriatic pipeline for bringing the oil to our neighbors, and we have checked all the capacities. Croatia can guarantee today, both to Hungary and to Slovakia, that it can supply them with more than 12 million tons of oil, any blend needed, in order to cater for all the needs for the Sasa Lombata refinery, which is in Hungary, and Bratislava refinery in Slovakia. We believe that there is no risk for the supply of oil to two of our neighboring countries, which we would like to help when it comes to the energy security.
So, assuming you neutralize the energy security issue, and it really then becomes a political question of whether or not they wish to continue purchasing from Russia, and it would seem that those countries do still wish to keep a commercial relationship for whatever reason with them. So, putting President Trump's requirement, and it is a requirement, before he's prepared to act against Russia, the EU member states have to do so. Will you be advocating that at Council?
Well, I think the moment is ripe. I think that the pressure that the President Trump and his administration is trying to do with all the Russia's clients is consistent with the line that he has made on the EU member states in terms of stop buying Russian oil. And if you do so, I will apply sanctions, because otherwise it doesn't make a lot of sense that the European Union is on the consumer side of the Russian oil. So that's why the different supply routes for all those countries who were theoretically in need of Russian oil, if it is adequately addressed, and we feel that for these two countries issues are addressed through the Adriatic pipeline, then I think we could come to a joint solution at the EU level. The other issue is not only where does the oil come from, but the price that is being actually bought for this oil.
So, you know, as a relatively small country within the Union. You're positioning Croatia as being one of those small but important and pivotal countries, in a sense, aren't you? We see them, a lot of the Nordics or the Scandinavian countries have that sort of niche area, that ability, to put it crudely, to play a role, to punch beyond your weight because of the way you position yourself and the positions you take. That's deliberate, isn't it?
Well, indeed, Croatia has a unique experience. We were a country which was a victim of aggression that still the current generation of Croats, whether they're in politics or just any Croats today, still remembers. We feel that we have some knowledge about the conflict resolution, liberation of the occupied territories, including the peaceful means with the use of the United Nations. We are very well geographically located. That's why we are trying to be the energy hub for our neighborhood, both when it comes to oil, but also when it comes to the liquefied natural gas. We have a terminal that was a far-sighted investment that we did in my Medved, which was a long time ago. So let's say that we have found a niche which is constructive niche for our neighbors and for strengthening Europe's energy security, but also contributing to the overall security efforts of the EU in addressing the global crisis spots, such as Ukraine, for instance.
Prime Minister, you missed the important bits, of course, the splendid food and wine, the magnificent weather and the gorgeous holiday destinations that you have within your country, which you and I have enjoyed. I'm grateful to you, Prime Minister, as always. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Please come again. We'll be happy to host you again. Tourist season was better than the last year, and around 21 million tourists will visit Croatia this year, which means that it highly contributes to our GDP. Thank you, Richard, for this opportunity. All the best.
Thank you. Good night, Prime Minister. Thank you.